Come on in, pull up a chair, and take a load off, because today I'm going to review and page through Tales from the Shadows from Kobold Press. Should you and your players be chomping at the bit to tackle these 14 tales set in the Shadow Realm of Midgard? Or would Tales from the Shadows be better left in the dark? Well, you're going to find out right after this. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. As mentioned in the open, today I am going to review and page through Tales from the Shadows from Kobold Press. It's written by Celeste Conowitch, Tim Hitchcock, Victoria Jaczko, Jeff Lee, Sarah Madsen, Carlos and Holly Avali, Kelly Pollock, Richard Pett, Mark Radel, John Sawatsky, and Mike Wilhelm. And I apologize, I guarantee I have butchered some of those names. This 196-page hardcover is available now, carries an MSRP of $39.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at Drive-Thru RPG for $24.99. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got Tales from the Shadows. Few things I do want to tackle before we jump on in. First off, the fine folks over at Kobold Press were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. These days, it's important that you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a good feel for what's in this adventure collection and share my thoughts about it as well. That said, this is an adventure collection, and as much as I'm going to stay away from major spoilers, there are going to be some spoilers as we take a peek through the book. So if you're a player who's hoping your dungeon master is going to run Tales from the Shadows, I would certainly recommend tune out now. You don't want surprises ruined because you are watching this review. Of course, you probably want to tell your dungeon master to check this review out so they can make an informed buying decision regarding Tales from the Shadows. All right, let's jump on in. First thing I will mention, there are lots of artists who helped bring this to life. I'm not going to read their names because I will do a worse job butchering those than I did the authors, but I do want to share some credit here. There are 14 adventures contained within Tales from the Shadows, and they all take place in the Shadow Realm, which is part of the Midgard setting, which is kind of like the home world for Kobold Press. Now, the adventures will run the level range from 1st up till 8th level. There are no high-level adventures contained within, which I got to be honest, I'm fine with. I have absolutely no problem with whatsoever. So, the Shadow Realm is actually discussed in depth in the supplement Book of Ebon Tides, which this is kind of a companion to. So I do want to mention, if you are considering picking up Tales from the Shadows, I would highly recommend that you have Book of Ebon Tides, because there's a lot of things being referenced in these adventures as part of the Shadow Realm that are far further discussed in depth in Book of Ebon Tides. So there are also quite a few creatures and monsters contained within, which are from the Creature Codex or volumes 1 and or 2 of Tome of Beasts. But it's not as critical that you own those books, because there is a page in here which will provide you with some replacement options as far as those creatures go. So we've got a wide variety of different topics and themes as far as the various different adventures. And for the most part, the great majority of these adventures are either good to great. So there are quite a few of these adventures I really like. There are some that I'm sort of like, they're okay, including the first adventure, which is just sort of there to try to get the player characters on board into the Shadow Realm and give them a purpose to stay in the Shadow Realm. Now, the artwork and cartography throughout is what we come to expect from Kobold Press. Really, really well done. These adventures also tie together, I guess, into a loose campaign if you wanted them to be. I don't necessarily know if I would go in that direction with these adventures. I got to also point out, I was kind of surprised that there are like 3 adventures in a row that all deal with lifting a curse. Now, the adventures are all different, but it's kind of unusual to see 3 adventures in a row in a collection that all deal with the same topic. Also want to point out that the final adventure I thought was going to be the big climax, and I kind of had an idea where it was going to be going, and it turned out I was completely wrong. And I will mention that I find the finale, the final adventure, a little bit of a letdown, because the character that you run across in that adventure, the main NPC, has kind of been referenced quite a few times, kind of name dropped in some of these other adventures. And then the second to last adventure kind of leads you into thinking, oh, well, I see that the final adventure is going to have the Dusk Queen, and something that you do in the second to last adventure provides you with an item that you think you would be using in that final adventure, but it doesn't happen. So there is the Sun King and the Dusk Queen, who are kind of important legends, I guess I would say, in the Shadow Realm. And you get to deal with both of them. And I have to point out, I found the adventure with the Sun King that actually a bit more interesting than I did the adventure with the Dusk Queen. Now, keep in mind, none of these adventures are bad. And I say it all the time that it is the third-party publishers out there who are really creating the memorable content for Dungeons and Dragons. It is not Wizards of the Coast. And once again, that is the case here. I dig this book quite a lot. We wrap up with some new magic items. We get a bestiary with some new creatures as well as important NPCs. And that wraps up the 14 adventures in Tales from the Shadows. So let's swing on over to the other camera so I can share some final thoughts as well as my review score. I say it time and time again that, in my opinion, Kobold Press is putting out some of the best content out there for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. And Tales from the Shadows is no exception. Sure, there are a few of the adventures I'm sort of like, they're okay. And I felt that the finale was a little anticlimactic. Not a bad adventure, just didn't really go in the direction I was expecting and to be very honest, I would probably deconstruct it and rebuild it if I were running it, especially on the heels of the adventure with the Sun King. But all in all, there's a lot to really like about Tales from the Shadows. We get some really fun investigative aspects. We get a murder mystery that has a bit of a nod to Agatha Christie. We have fake courts that the player characters have to deal with. And the Shadow Realms overall is a very interesting area of Midgard. I really do recommend Tales from the Shadows. I think dungeon masters and players alike are going to have a really good time with the majority of these adventures. And having said that, I give Tales from the Shadows an 8 out of 10 on a scale of 0 to 10. I think it's that good, and I certainly do recommend you pick it up. Also keep in mind, you should have Book of Ebon Tides to get the most out of Tales from the Shadows. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when I upload videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central, as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news and first looks at games. Usually, every once in a while, I'll do a live review. But of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch this review, and until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.